So there was all kinds of shit going on. Whatever the bikers were into, that's what was happening. There was also some Greek mafia and some French mafia, I believe. A lot of French, Greek, and history in Manchester. So the zone really wasn't the greatest place to be ever. Um, During the day, it was pretty quiet. You know, me, my brother, a couple neighborhood friends, we basically ran through the zone all day, every day. We all lived in it. There was about 6 or 8 of us, I think. Johnny, Scotty, Colby, fucking uh, me, Paul, friggin' bunch of other kids, you know. And we just ran rampant. We did whatever we wanted. Nobody ever said anything to us for some reason. Um, Whenever we went out of the zone, for some reason, that's when we got in trouble or got caught for stupid shit or got in like fights and bullshit like that. It was never really in the zone that anything happened to us, but once we went outside there, it was like free game, you know. I remember my brother had a bike, which was probably stolen at one time, okay? But this bike repeatedly got stolen over and over and over and over, okay? So my brother gets his bike, gets a job, spends all kinds of money like buying parts for this bike, customizes everything. I mean everything. There wasn't one stock part on this bike. I think the only stock part on it was the frame itself. Uh, had all kinds of trick shit on it, like pegs, fucking crazy chain, crank, friggin' rotor, brakes, friggin' everything, brake levers, all kinds of trick shit, seat post seats, everything that you could do to this bike was done. And me and my buddy Johnny were across town one day, and I saw this black kid, boom, whipping by us on my brother's bike. It was a one-of-a-kind bike. I knew it was my brother's bike the second I saw it. I look at Johnny. Johnny's Mexican. I go, yo, that nigga just stole Paul's bike. Johnny looks at me and he's like, I didn't get to see the bike. He's like, but I know who that kid is. I'm like, all right. I'm like, let's go over to Paul's work. I go, I bet you he's working right now. He took his bike to work. I go, I bet you his bike's gone. We ride our bikes all the way across town to Yay Destiny. Get there, my brother's outside throwing a fit. He's pissed. His bike's gone. I go, that's funny because I just saw the black kid who stole your bike. Johnny knows who he is. All right. Here's where things get fucked up, okay? I'm not sure exactly how much time went by. Me and Johnny ended up immediately scooting through town looking for the kid in the bike. Obviously, we didn't find him that day. So my brother gets home, you know, so a certain amount of time goes by. Johnny, my brother, and me are walking by at the time it was theirs. And what's sitting right in the doorway? My brother's bike. There were like a couple things changed on it. I think there were like different hand grips on it or something. They stripped the pegs off of it. Everything else was almost the same. My brother had a red, white, and blue chain. It was the only bike in Manchester with a red, white, and blue chain. And sure enough, sitting fucking right there. Johnny's like, yo, that's your bike. Paul looks, I look, I go, that's your motherfucking bike sitting right there. By the time we even, like, my brother even comprehended, like, holy shit, that's my bike. And nobody's around. Johnny had already grabbed the bike and had bounced out. I remember him yelling at me, hold the doorway open. And I'm like, holy shit, as I'm walking in and fucking then, boom, he goes flying out on the bike and he was ghost, all right? Gone. I look at Paul, I'm like, what do you want to do? He's like, let's go home. So we go home. Sure enough, Johnny's there with the bike. Boom. Right? So then a little while later, we decided to go to the west side. Hey, let's go to Rock Rimmon or something. I believe that's where we were going. And then all of a sudden, we started getting chased by about 5 or 6 Puerto Ricans. Alright? And I remember my brother just going, boom, and whipping by me. And I'm like, holy shit. And he ripped down Elm Street. Made it to the Manchester Library, right there in the big courtyard there with the big cobblestone granite shit around the courtyard there. Jumps off the bike. My brother's like, yeah, we're gonna fight. And my brother's like, one-on-one. The Puerto Ricans kept coming in at him. One of them sucker punched him, split his eye open. The cops came before my brother fucking could get a throw in. Now, the cop ended up arresting my brother. All the Puerto Rican kids, boom, ghosted as soon as the cop got there. Fucking vanished. They ended up arresting my brother because he was getting mouthy. And it was Johnny, Chris, me, and I looked around and it was just Chris and me. And I was like, yo, where the fuck did Johnny go? Now, this whole time while the scuffle's going on and the cops are pulling up, Johnny picked up the bike again. All right, he already had a bike. He picked up my brother's bike, put it on his shoulder, and that motherfucker pedaled his ass back home. All right, that's a true motherfucker right there. All right, and fucking, once my brother was arrested, me and Chris decided, yo, we need to be ghosts, like ASAP, because these motherfuckers are coming back. So we made it back to the fucking neighborhood. We go to Johnny's, and sure enough, he's there with his bike, my brother's bike. And he's like, yo, where the fuck you fools at, man? He's laughing, yo. He's like, yo, I've been sitting here for like an hour, bro. He's like, we're like, dude, we didn't even know you left. He's like, dude, the second fucking Paul jumped off his bike and was squared up with them, he's like, I picked up his bike and was gone. He's like, you didn't see me? I'm like, no. Chris is like, no. They're like, dude, you're so fucking fast. He's like, that's twice now I stole that bike. He's like, you motherfuckers owe me. That dude Johnny was the first person to ever smack me in the face with a pound of weed, too. First elbow I ever bought. That Mexican smacked me right upside my head with it. I looked at him like I wanted to fight his ass, and it's just a good thing we went way back. And he's like, yeah, that's what happens when you buy your first pound. I'm like, yo, I'll give you that one, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty funny. I'll give it to him. But that's the type of place the zone was. Like I said, I wasn't allowed out that much at night. There were a couple big gangs in Manchester. One of them was called the Bros. And it was just basically all the Manchester kids that would come together because the Boston crew would come up here and try and run amok. And from my understanding, the Bros literally shut down Elm Street one night, and there were about 400 of them. And like 100 dudes came up from Boston, and the dudes from Boston just got wrecked, from my understanding. A lot of them dudes in the Bros were and are badass motherfuckers, you know. Some of them fucking from the neighborhood, some of them from outskirts of the neighborhood, some of them probably not even from Manchester, but you know, those dudes are the dudes who originated the fucking Match Vegas. Like, those dudes are the dudes who made Manchester Match Vegas. They initiated that. That was their thing. And so all you people running around today screaming Match Vegas and shit, you know, like, know where that shit came from, okay? Know your history about Manchester. Manchester's deep. Manchester runs so deep, people don't even know.